Why some people resist you. Your energy is too strong. Have you ever walked into a room and felt people shift uncomfortably? Have you ever noticed how some individuals seem drawn to you while others avoid you without reason? Have you ever lost friendships, relationships, or opportunities simply because your presence felt too much for others? If so, you are not imagining things. Your energy is powerful, and not everyone knows how to handle it. Most people believe that resistance from others means something is wrong with them. They assume that if someone treats them coldly, distances themselves, or reacts negatively, they must have done something wrong. But what if that's not the case? What if the resistance you experience is not a reflection of your flaws, but of your strength? What if people resist you not because you are weak, but because your energy is too intense for them?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Energy is everything. It is the invisible force that determines how we connect, attract, and repel. Every person operates at a certain frequency, shaped by their beliefs, emotions, and level of consciousness. When you carry a high vibration, when you are deeply self-aware, authentic, and spiritually awakened, you disrupt the equilibrium of those who are not ready to operate at that level. Your presence, your truth, your very existence forces them to confront the parts of themselves they have been avoiding. And that is why they resist you. Think about it. Most people live on autopilot. They conform. They suppress their true selves to fit into societal expectations. They avoid deep introspection because it is uncomfortable to face their shadows. When someone who refuses to play by these rules enters their space, someone who is unapologetically authentic, deeply aware, and unwilling to shrink themselves, it creates friction. It exposes their own inauthenticity. It makes them question their own choices, and instead of facing that discomfort, they resist. This is why people with powerful energy often experience loneliness. It is not that they are unlovable or difficult to be around. It is that they are rare. The more you awaken, the more you outgrow old relationships, outdated belief systems, and environments that no longer align with your frequency. And while this can feel isolating, it is actually a sign that you are evolving. You are shedding everything that cannot exist at your new level of awareness. But here's where it gets even deeper. Some people don't just resist you, they actively try to bring you down. They mock your growth. They question your path. They project their own insecurities onto you. Why? Because your energy threatens their ego. Your presence reminds them of their own stagnation. And instead of rising to meet you, they try to pull you back down to their level, because that is where they feel safe. This is why spiritual growth is not just about enlightenment, it is about resilience. It is about standing firm in your energy, even when the world does not understand you. It is about refusing to dim your light to make others comfortable. Because the truth is, your energy is not meant for everyone, and that is okay. So here's the question: are you willing to keep expanding, even if it means losing people? Are you willing to embrace the discomfort of growth, knowing that not everyone will come with you? Because those who are meant for you, those who are ready for your energy, will not resist you. They will recognize you. They will rise with you. And when that happens, you will realize that the resistance you once faced was never rejection. It was redirection. The hidden psychology behind why people fear your energy and what you can do about it. Most people assume that if someone resists them, avoids them, or reacts negatively to their presence, it must be personal. They think, what did I do wrong? Why do they not like me? But what if I told you that their reaction has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them? What if I told you that the resistance you experience is a subconscious defense mechanism? When people sense energy that is stronger, purer, or more awakened than theirs, their ego automatically perceives it as a threat, even if they don't understand why. The human mind is wired for survival, and one of the ways it protects itself is by maintaining a stable sense of identity. Most people build their identities based on external validation, societal conditioning, and deeply ingrained belief systems. They create a version of themselves that feels safe, predictable, and accepted by others. But when they encounter someone whose energy is different, someone who does not conform, someone who radiates truth, someone who cannot be manipulated or controlled, it disrupts their carefully constructed identity. It forces them to question things they would rather avoid. And because the ego hates change, it activates its defense mechanisms: avoidance, judgment, criticism, or even hostility. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who seemed irritated by you for no reason? Someone who became distant the moment you started growing, healing, or stepping into your power? Someone who reacted as if your presence alone made them uncomfortable? This is not a coincidence. Your energy challenges them on a subconscious level. It forces them to confront their own limitations, their suppressed emotions, their unhealed wounds. And instead of facing that discomfort, they project it onto you. This is why people with strong energy often attract resistance, even in the absence of conflict. It is not about what you say or do, it is about what you represent. You represent change. You represent authenticity. You represent freedom from the mental and emotional prisons that most people don't even realize they are trapped in. And for those who are not ready to evolve, your presence is unsettling. It is easier for them to push you away than to question their own reality. But here's where it gets even deeper. Some people fear your energy not because it threatens their sense of self, but because it exposes the illusions they have been living in. They have convinced themselves that success means following the rules, that happiness is found in external validation, that security comes from fitting in. But when they see you thriving in your authenticity, when they see you unshaken by societal expectations, when they see you living with purpose and confidence, it contradicts everything they have believed. And instead of being inspired, they feel attacked. Because if you are right, then that means they have been wrong. And the ego cannot handle that. So what can you do about this? How do you navigate a world that resists your energy? The first step is understanding that it is not your job to be understood. Not everyone is meant to resonate with you. Not everyone is ready for your energy. And that is okay. Your purpose is not to convince people to accept you. Your purpose is to embody your truth so fully that those who are meant for you cannot help but be drawn to you. The second step is mastering emotional neutrality. When you understand why people resist your energy, you stop taking it personally. You stop reacting. You stop feeling the need to prove yourself. Instead, you observe. You recognize that their resistance is a reflection of their own inner struggles, not a reflection of your worth. You remain centered, unshaken, powerful, and in doing so, you reclaim your energy. The third step is discernment. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Not everyone is ready to receive what you have to offer. And that is not a judgment, it is a reality. Just as not everyone can handle deep waters, not everyone can handle deep energy. Some people will try to drain you. Some people will try to diminish you. Some people will try to pull you back into lower frequencies. Your job is to recognize these patterns and protect your energy fiercely. And here's the most powerful truth of all: you do not have to dim your light to make others comfortable. The world does not need more people who shrink themselves to fit in. The world needs more people who are willing to stand fully in their power, even when it makes others uncomfortable. Because the ones who resist you today may one day realize that your energy was exactly what they needed to awaken. So ask yourself, are you willing to be misunderstood in order to stay true to yourself? Are you willing to lose people in order to find those who truly align with you? Are you willing to stand alone, if necessary, rather than compromise your essence? Because the moment you say yes to your own energy, you step into a level of freedom and power that no amount of resistance can shake. But here's the next question: if you are destined to carry strong energy, how do you use it to transform the world instead of letting the world exhaust you? That is where the real mastery begins. The power of your presence, how to influence, lead, and elevate others without losing yourself. When you carry a strong energy, you have two choices. You can either suppress it to fit into a world that fears intensity, or you can learn how to channel it into a force that transforms everything you touch. Many people with powerful energy struggle because they don't yet understand how to navigate their own presence. They either make themselves smaller to avoid resistance, or they become exhausted trying to convince others to understand them. But neither of these paths leads to mastery. True mastery comes when you learn how to influence, lead, and elevate others without sacrificing yourself in the process. Your presence alone shifts the energy of any room you enter. Whether you realize it or not, people feel you before you even speak. They sense your confidence, your truth, your authenticity, and this can either inspire them or intimidate them. The key is knowing how to manage this influence consciously. When you walk into a space, are you aware of how your energy is impacting others? Are you consciously directing it, or are you allowing it to be drained by those who are not ready to receive it? Most people with strong energy do not set intentional boundaries, and as a result, they become overwhelmed, feeling like they are always giving, always being misunderstood, always carrying the emotional weight of those around them. The first step to mastering your presence is understanding that you are not responsible for how others react to you. If someone is inspired by your energy, that is their choice. If someone is intimidated by it, that is also their choice. Your job is not to adjust yourself to make others comfortable. Your job is to stand in your truth so firmly that those who are ready for elevation naturally rise to meet you. This is the difference between true leadership and forced influence. Forced influence is when you chase people, trying to convince them to see things your way. True leadership is when you become so aligned, so powerful in your own presence, that people are drawn to you without you even needing to try. But here's where it gets even deeper. Many people with strong energy feel drained because they are constantly giving without receiving. They attract people who want their wisdom, their guidance, their light, but these same people do not give anything back. This is where discernment becomes crucial. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Not everyone is meant to receive from you. There is a difference between sharing your light and allowing yourself to be used as a source of energy for those who refuse to generate their own. If you do not protect your energy, you will find yourself constantly exhausted, constantly feeling like you are carrying the weight of others' emotions, constantly wondering why you feel drained after certain interactions. The solution is not to close yourself off, it is to become selective. You must learn to recognize who is genuinely ready to grow and who is simply looking for a place to deposit their unhealed emotions. You must learn to distinguish between those who are seeking wisdom and those who are seeking an emotional crutch. And most importantly, you must learn to give without attachment. True giving does not come with expectations. You share your energy, your wisdom, your truth, but you do not tie yourself to how others receive it. You do not chase validation. You do not try to force understanding. You offer what you have, and then you step back, allowing people the freedom to either rise with it or walk away. And then there is the question of leadership. When you carry strong energy, whether you realize it or not, you are a natural leader. People look to you for guidance, for inspiration, for strength. But leadership is not about control, it is about embodiment. The most powerful leaders do not tell people what to do, they show them what is possible simply by being themselves. When you embody your truth fully, you give others permission to do the same. When you walk in confidence, you remind others of their own inner power. When you refuse to shrink, you inspire others to expand. This is the ripple effect of high-frequency energy. You do not need to convince people to follow you. You simply need to become the highest version of yourself, and those who are aligned with that energy will naturally find their way to you. But here's the greatest challenge: how do you influence without losing yourself? How do you share your energy without becoming drained? The answer lies in energetic boundaries. Boundaries are not about shutting people out, they are about managing how much of yourself you give and to whom. This means knowing when to engage and when to step back. It means recognizing when a conversation is uplifting and when it is simply a cycle of emotional dumping. It means being aware of how you feel after certain interactions and adjusting accordingly. If you leave an interaction feeling lighter, inspired, or energized, you were in a space of mutual exchange. If you leave feeling exhausted, drained, or irritated, you were in a space of energetic imbalance. And once you recognize this, you have the power to choose differently. The final step to mastering your presence is learning the art of non-attachment. When you are deeply connected to your own energy, you no longer need external validation. You no longer seek approval. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself. You operate from a place of inner completeness, and this makes you unshakable. People may resist you, misunderstand you, even fear you, but none of it affects you because you are no longer looking for anything outside of yourself. You are simply being, and in that state of being, you become a force that cannot be ignored. So ask yourself, are you using your energy wisely, or are you allowing it to be drained by those who are not ready for it? Are you leading through embodiment, or are you still trying to convince people to see your value? Are you standing fully in your presence, or are you shrinking to make others comfortable? Because the moment you decide to own your energy without apology, you step into a level of power that is beyond influence. It is magnetism. But here's the next question: if your energy is this powerful, how do you ensure that it continues to expand rather than be diminished by the world? How do you grow even stronger, even more aligned, even more magnetic? That is where the real transformation begins. The expansion principle: how to keep rising when the world tries to hold you back. The moment you decide to stop shrinking, to stop apologizing for your energy, to stop diluting your power to make others comfortable, you will notice something strange. The world will push back. Not because you are wrong, not because you are unworthy, but because you are stepping beyond the limits that most people accept as reality. Expansion, by its very nature, disrupts the status quo. And when you expand, everything that is not aligned with your new frequency will either rise with you or attempt to pull you back down. This is where most people falter. They mistake resistance as a sign that they should stop, that they should return to a familiar, smaller version of themselves. They feel the discomfort of outgrowing old relationships, old habits, old environments, and they assume something is wrong. But the truth is, resistance is proof that you are evolving. If you were not growing, there would be no friction. If you were not elevating, there would be no disruption. The pushback you feel is not a sign to retreat, it is a sign that you are breaking through. But how do you keep expanding when the world tries to hold you back? How do you continue rising when the weight of expectations, negativity, and doubt surrounds you? The first key is unshakable self-trust. You must trust your own growth, even when no one else understands it. You must trust your own vision, even when others doubt it. You must trust your own energy, even when it feels like you are walking a path that no one around you has walked before. Because the truth is, You are not here to fit into the old, you are here to create something new. The second key is radical detachment. Most people stop growing because they are afraid of losing things, losing people, losing approval, losing familiarity. But expansion requires release. You cannot hold on to everything and still rise. Some friendships will fade. Some relationships will dissolve. Some versions of yourself will no longer exist. And that is not a loss, it is a transformation. The moment you stop fearing what you might lose and start focusing on what you are becoming, you step into a level of freedom that is unstoppable. The third key is energetic mastery. The world will always contain distractions, negativity, and lower frequencies, but none of it can touch you if you do not engage with it. Protect your energy like it is your most valuable asset, because it is. Be mindful of who and what you allow into your space. Choose your battles wisely. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every invitation deserves a yes. Mastering your energy means knowing when to engage and when to simply walk away, unbothered, untouchable. The final key is alignment over approval. Many people spend their lives chasing validation, seeking permission to be themselves. But the most powerful beings in history, the visionaries, the leaders, the revolutionaries, were not concerned with being liked. They were concerned with being true. You do not need everyone to understand you. You do not need everyone to support you. You only need to be so deeply aligned with your own path that nothing can pull you away from it. So ask yourself, are you ready to rise, even if it means leaving behind everything that no longer fits? Are you ready to trust yourself, even when the world resists? Are you ready to expand, even if it means standing alone for a while? Because the truth is, the higher you rise, the fewer people will be able to walk with you. But those who do will be the ones who are meant to. And when you reach that level, when you stop seeking permission, when you stop fearing resistance, when you stop holding yourself back, you will realize something profound. The world never had the power to hold you back. The only thing that ever truly limited you was your own willingness to stay small. But now, you know the truth. And once you know, you cannot go back. You can only go forward. You can only expand. You can only rise.